Welcome, my political friends of the interwebs. Today we are going to be talking about Mitt Romney. You know, I'll tell you. Now, this is not going to be the most timely video. Well, it won't be horribly untimely, but you know what cracks me up? Apparently, Mitt Romney was at a fundraiser, and he was caught on tape, on camera, saying, basically talking about the, what is it, 40-some% of the Americans who are basically counting on government assistance. You know, so I guess for all intents and purposes, he called them a bunch of freeloaders. And what he said was that those people are not the people he's going for. Those people aren't voting for him. You know, and I've said, by the way, I've said this for a long time. I don't know how many of you listen to Rush Limbaugh or not, but I will tell you that Rush Limbaugh hit the nail on the head a long time ago. He's talked about this for a very long time. He basically said that the Democrats need a permanent underclass in this country because those people are their votes in the bank. I mean, they're not, you know, you put a man on a check and he's going to vote for you. That's just the way it is. I've said that for the longest time. And I got to be honest with you, it's the truth. But, you know, of course, the media got wind that Romney had said this, and they made a lot of hay about it, literally. They made a lot of hay about it. They basically said that just cost him the election. It was an ultimate gap. But, you know, let me tell you something. First of all, by the way, here's a little factoid. The guy that works for Mother Jones that released this little tidbit, guess who he is? You're never going to guess, unless you've already heard it already. Jimmy Carter IV. So he comes from a long line of freaking retards. So anyway, Mother Jones is, if you don't know, a left-wing nut job organization. They may be subsidized by Soros. I'm not really sure. I know Move On is. But Mother Jones is one of those lefty groups, real heavily into the environmental nonsense. They've always got some goofy shit to say about the environment. Mostly wacko stuff. But anyway, so they had this tape, this recording of Romney video is what it was, for 2 weeks. And they just, you know, kind of left it in their little bag of tricks. And then when the Middle East blew up, and believe me, that's exactly what the Middle East did. It blew up. When the Middle East blew up, and it looked like Obama was making one mistake after the next, they had to dig it out. They had to drag that and throw that out there to give the media something to cling to. So all of a sudden, the story went from the disastrous foreign policy of Barack Hussein Obama, and now it's all about how Mitt Romney's calling, you know, half the country a bunch of freeloaders. Well, less than half the country. And you know, I got to be honest with you, Romney needs to own this thing. He does. He needs to own this thing. He needs to come out and say, look, because right now they've got him doing a little dance. And I hate that. I do. I hate that. Because, you know, bottom line, he's right. And when you're right, don't do the little dance. Just come out there and say I'm right. Here's the thing. And well, I should say, listen, the problem that Romney has is that no matter what he says, the left-wing media is so in the freaking tank for Obama that they're going to spin the shit out of it. That's just what's going to happen. You know, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to spin the shit out of it, and he knows it. So he's got to be very careful. But the truth is, I would love to see him come out and say, look, here's the deal. The Democrats need a permanent underclass. They're trying to put as many people on a check as they can. We've got 100 million people in this country on some form of federal welfare, and they're basically trying to buy votes by putting people into poverty and keeping them in poverty. See, that's the problem. There's no incentive for them to get anybody off a check at all. Those people are voting for him. No incentive at all. Whereas Romney, he wants people to go back to work. That's what he's looking to do for them. But, and I've talked about this for years now, once you get a check drawer, drawing a check, it's hard. It ruins a man. It ruins a man. It really does. It ruins a man. You can't do that. It's the old saying, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. The only caveat to the whole thing is, give a man a check, and you're never going to get him off a check. In fact, give a man a fish, and he's going to want you to give him a fish the next day. He's going to want you to give him a fish the day after that. And he's going to want you to give him a fish the rest of his life. Somebody's got to do the fishing, though. That's the problem. That's the one thing that these liberal socialists don't never understand. Who is it? Margaret Thatcher said the problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money. I mean, that's really it in a nutshell, isn't it? Of course, you can't convince these lefty nut jobs this at all. That whole concept is beyond them because they've been indoctrinated to think that people like, I don't know, the Bill Gateses of the world have hoarded all the money. And by the way, people have pointed out to me in the past that, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates are big Democrats. Let me tell you something. They are idiots is what they are. They think that if they suck ass with the Democrats and talk about how they aren't taxed enough, understand too that billionaires are in a different plane, different world than mere mortals. Okay? I don't even know that they truly have a real understanding about their wealth. But I think that they're playing this game. I think they think that if they suck ass with the Democrats, that when the revolution comes, they won't be put into the guillotine. I don't know. I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, as much as I hate the idea of the socialist Democrats taking over the country and turning it into a communist utopia, or their version of that, the only pleasure I would get from any of that would be watching Bill Gates and Warren Buffett stripped of everything that they own. You see, that's how it works. I mean, of course, if that is assuming they couldn't flee the country, which, by the way, you're starting to notice. I mean, people are fleeing the country. Denise Rich, very, very wealthy Democratic donor. In fact, she put on some of the biggest fundraisers for the Democrats in the last 20 years have been put on by her. What'd she do? She skipped town. Literally, she got the hell out of the country. She's seen the writing on the wall. These taxes, she's not getting caught with that. That dude from Facebook. He's like, I'm out. Tax me. Did you see, too, the richest guy in France is bolting? He's getting the hell out of France because France is talking about a 75% freaking income tax. Or higher. It's high. It's crazy high. I find that to be very interesting when you see these liberals realize their dreams coming true. It's almost like they wake up and go, holy shit, what have we done? And then they get the hell out of the country. It's pathetic, actually. Now, listen. Let's get back to Mitt Romney. In my humble opinion, Mitt Romney needs to own it. He needs to basically say, hey, let me tell you guys something. Yeah, the country has a certain amount of people that are, for all intents and purposes, freeloading. That's what they're doing. They're not paying their way. They're not paying their share. They're sucking off the government tit. And a big portion of them, a big lot of them, don't ever want to get off the government tit. Those people, and I wish he would just look at the camera and go, those people are never going to vote for me. Fuck them. Fuck them. I wish he'd say that. He won't, but I wish he'd say that. And then I wish he'd say, look at the camera and say, hey, let me tell you guys something. I've got a plan to get us out of this hole. And it's going to mean that people are going to have to work. This drawing a check thing just isn't going to happen. People are going to have to go back to work. Have a little pride in themselves and go back to work. And Mitt should say, I've got a plan to make that happen. And Obama does not. Obama wants you to be beholden to him and the Democratic Party and the liberalism. That's what he wants. And that's exactly what he should say. Obama wants you to be beholden to the government tit. He wants you to rely on Uncle Sugar. Whereas I don't. I want you to be self-sufficient. I want you to have a good life, raise your family, earn a decent living, you know, retire reasonably comfortable. You know, I mean, hey, seriously. But see, the Democrats, you know, the thing that kills me about the Democrats, the Democrats have the Republicans so worried that people are going to look at them as heartless, and people are going to look at it. See, here's the thing, and I said this, by the way. When I seen them give extension after extension after extension for unemployment benefits, I remember thinking to myself, unemployment's the new welfare. Literally. There's no end to it. Unemployment's the new welfare. And Obama can't put these people off that check. He doesn't want to put them off the check. Now, at some point, he's got to figure out a way to segue them from the unemployment checks to a welfare check. And by the way, did you notice he did away with the work provisions? Mm-hmm. That's right. No, because, you know, work's demeaning. You know, work's demeaning. Well, in the old days, you would have to prove that you were actually looking for a freaking job. And now you don't have to prove that at all. I mean, whether you got a job or not, it's not the point. You had to prove that you were actively seeking employment. Now you don't even have to pretend that you're actively seeking employment. I mean, how pathetic is that? Seriously, how pathetic is that? And the media is saying that Mitt Romney doesn't have a prayer of getting elected now, that he just, that supposed gaffe, you know, the one that Mother Jones and Jimmy Carter IV sat on for a couple weeks, apparently that is the pivotal moment in the whole the whole election that just ends it for Mitt. You freaking kidding me? I'll tell you one thing though, I will say this. Mitt needs to toughen up. He does. He needs to toughen up. Because he's got to realize that he's not just fighting Obama. He's fighting the entire media. He is fighting the entire liberal machine. And you ain't going to do that successfully if you're not tough. It's not. In my opinion. Let me know what you think, but I'm telling you right now, Mitt needs to toughen up. He needs to toughen up and take no shit from this point on. Because let me tell you something. All you got to do is look at John McCain's campaign. That's all you got to do. Look at John McCain's campaign. You know, God bless Sarah Palin. She tried to get in there and throw some right hooks and some uppercuts. She tried. And McCain was just like, oh, you know, I don't want to run that kind of campaign. Well, guess what? You're going to lose then. You know? You're going to lose. And you shouldn't have, you know, listen, for fuck's sake, we've got the worst economy since the Great Depression. And regardless of what they keep trying to say about George Bush, most people realize that Obama not only hasn't improved it in 4 years, he don't have a plan to improve it going forward. I mean, and if you go and you scrutinize his platform and his listen, are you kidding me? It's all a bunch of bullshit. Every bit of it, a bunch of bullshit. So, now where are we at? 13:35. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me flap my lips about this. Let me know in the comment section, you know, do you think Mitt needs to toughen up? Do you think he needs to throw it back at them? Because the truth is that 40-some%, they're not going to vote for him no matter what he says. At all. Some of them because they're Kool-Aid drinkers, but a big part of them because, look, they are contributing. Now, some of them would love to contribute, but they're scared they're never going to be able to, or the job market's just so freaking bad. And, you know, the Democrats got them scared to death that evil Mitt Romney's going to swoop in and you know, basically throw them out on the street, and they'll have to stand in soup lines. You know? I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think about all that. I think personally, Mitt needs to toughen up. I think personally, Mitt needs to own it. I think personally that Mitt needs to just say, hey, look, screw those people. They're not going to vote for me. I'm going to focus on the people that will vote for me. Let me implement my plan and put you all back to work. Or you can join the arms of the chronically unemployed welfare recipients, which is exactly what's going to happen if you don't do something. Alrighty. See ya.